Sunset and Abyss banned out. Map 1 Haven, which is is SFU's pick. Bind is going to be the pick of BSU, and if we make it all the way, Ascent is going to be that decider. You know, the tried and true, the collegiate special here, I would say. I mean, I feel like both of these teams just banned out the strong suit of their opponent, and now we're left with kind of these middle ground maps. So I'm really excited, and jumping here into Haven, there's where I talked about where you might see Rayriana in a new light here. Septilence, we're gonna wait for Agent Select to reveal that to you, but what do you think what do you think you're about to see?
I'm definitely seeing something. Fascinating feels like a simple word for this, right? It's definitely a big change on the side of Boise. They're bringing out some fascinating plays to the table, and with these characters being changed, a couple that we kind of referenced, are we going to be seeing them in-game? Are we not going to be? With Simon Fraser having just played Haven, I think it's comfortable to say that their team comp's not going to be a secret, right? Why would they change it between now and 15 minutes ago? If Boise State was watching that series, they likely know what they're going up against here. Zhobiii, when you play this game, when you commentate kind of the best of them, just knowing what your opponent is going to play, does that change what you're going to bring to the table?
I think in a LAN environment like this, where you're coming out of games, you want to take your breather in between maps. I don't think you have the time to counter shot against a composition.
That's very true.
But I think you can, like, if you see, like, for example, like you mentioned SFU running a Neon Phoenix, right? Like, I feel like you're going to kind of know what comes along with that and maybe expect some of these more aggressive plays. And all I can say, though, is when I was going in the green room over the composition that BSU is running, I was shocked about what they're running on Haven. And I cannot wait to see how it works, especially because some of these players are not going to be on the roles that you're used to seeing them on, Septilence. And aside from that, you mentioned like these teams might not be the ones to switch their compositions on the fly. Well, SFU changed their bind comp, which is map number 2, between their two group stage matches. So they are a team that I have no clue what we're going to get when we get to map 2. But here,
it's anybody's game. Here it's anybody's game. I think you raised such an incredible point. And I think there's something so fascinating. You know, of course, I spend a little bit more time with Overwatch than Valorant, and Boise Overwatch in particular. And it's funny because that team is somewhat notorious for role swapping their players as well. We see so many of them going from tank to DPS or DPS to support or any of those combinations. So to see Boise Valorant kind of mirroring that and kind of mimicking that shows not only the talent of these players, but the versatility and the depths of their agent pools.
Yep, and speaking of depth of that agent pool, there you go. Rayriana on the deadlock, which is such a concern for me because I feel like an anchor on that C side is like a down requirement here, especially with BSU starting out on the defense. So again, I'm going to be curious how you play it, and this is exactly what I expected. Have your Pseudo Sentinel Astra play with your deadlock, but what it seems like BSU did not expect was a fast B-pop as the plant has already gone down.
And this is exactly how Simon Fraser played it last time. They went for these B hits, they went for them early. A great elimination from Kenny is going to open the door. Prestige's headshot is going to find that. The wall bang onto Shrek ties us up 4-4. The site getting pushed heavily by Boise State.
Right now, hiding and alone. Kane on an island is going to be drowned out by Master here. Number advantage for BSU. And again, Super Heaven left to their devices, and those devices may just be enough. Frag after frag, and SFU is going to come out on top.
SFU, a beautiful opportunity here. Simon Fraser is going to put that first win down on the board. Now, it's important to note that they actually lost, I believe, both pistol rounds in their matchup up against George Fox just one series ago. So this is not only a great win, obviously, for the numbers on the board, but a great win to show the changes and improvements they've made in, what, the 20 minutes between series.
Oh, forward for sure. And like you mentioned, right, they're coming out of Haven. That's what they won against GFU or George Fox University to get here. So I can see why this would be their pick coming in to this best of 3, right? Get off to the right start, because we've seen what happens when they don't. So pistol on their side, weapons now in hand. And it's interesting, right? When we look at the speed they had when they didn't have weapons on that pistol and the B site, now they're slowing things down, trying to dissect what this Astra Deadlock is going to look like.
The Astra Deadlock is definitely going to be fascinating. A lot of post-plant defensive and a lot of just plant denial could go a long way, but unfortunately we're not going to get to find out what either are going to do, as they have been dismissed from the Mortal Coil. 2 players down already. Simon Fraser find themselves up 5-3 in round number 2. A round that, of course, you know, the statistics say they're supposed to win, but we've seen many a team lose it before. Skelesis in disguise, finding picks of their own. Now 3v2. Boise State down, but certainly not out.
And this is what the half buy the Deagles can promise is economic damage, but is it enough? Skelesis 45 HP here. Taking one more gun off would be huge, but making no mistakes here. Fast line up, getting off site, making sure they're not going to expire to the spike. They are checking all the boxes to ensure that this rifle, or actually this buy round that you mentioned, does not go the way that they don't expect it to.
slow and steady got to be the name of the game here. 3v1, you're at a weapons disadvantage already. You definitely don't want to be feeding them any ult opportunities any more so than you can help. So we're going to see most likely an elimination to the spike, just like that. And now we go into round 3, where Boise State should get the opportunity to full buy.
And we saw maybe some of the overextensions from SFU there right after they took the C site, punished by the Deagle shots. But aside from that, we really did see the weakness of BSU's composition on that defensive half, right? Like a deadlock is not enough to hold down or anchor that C site. And I was curious to see as well what the Astra utility is going to look like. And even that is somewhat passive, right? You have the 1-star on default, the sonic sensor is also really deep into sight. There's nothing to address that choke point of C main. And that's what's so interesting to me, because then it's going to require extra coordination, extra timing for Ray, Rihanna, and this Astra in punishing these players. But speaking of punishment, Skies, A-Long, oh.
A lot of patience there. The curveball is going to be able to find an opportunity, pushes Skies back a bit. We hear that ultimate come through, the double tap on the ISO, puts him into the forefront, but he still gets taken down by Super Heaven. 4-2 now in favor of Simon Fraser. And look at this, here's the aggression again. They get the A site, they overextend, not just into it, but through it, looking for an opportunity to strike. Rihanna gives themselves away on the high ground, not able to find that spray, but able to put down one now, tries to double it and give it back to somebody else, and that Omen stands strong.
Alright, 2v3, BSU in danger of losing their rifle around here because of those extra weapons bought up by SFU. Ray Rihanna just waiting for the rotation, waiting and hoping that the Astra would find something, but as Ray Rihanna falls, it looks like the call is here. Prestige gonna go ahead and save that Vandal. And you mentioned there, Septilence, right? That SFU almost overheated, but it was off of a run it back, right? Your Phoenix, who has a second life, is going to come back, and they did their job. They made that space, right? They capped off the little pinch play to close out those players who were towards long from BSU, and then they prevented a reflood from BSU. So beautifully done here for the 3-0 on the board.
3-0 on the board is already, as I mentioned, a better startup than they saw against George Fox. They lost that pistol round, and then they went on to win, I believe, 7 rounds in a row. So if they're able to win these first 3, how far is this momentum going to be able to take them? Because going into this round here, we're going to see Boise State go for maybe a little bit of a buy-up, but I'm talking like light shields and maybe an SMG. I doubt we're going to see any rifles, maybe one, if they want to extend that Frankenbuy, look for an opportunity to strike, but they know they're walking to Simon Fraser at full power here.
Oh, for sure, and I think that's why we have this gamble stack on B. That's why we have 3 players getting ready to push out grass, right? If they're going to take a fight, they want to do it on their own grounds, and they're going to die by that hand as well.
Yeah. Holy cow, 3 players blink and you miss it the first 10 seconds. Simon Fraser up by 3. Now a lot of damage dealt on their side, so surely a winnable scenario for Boise State if they can land a couple of shots. Sprang into the middle here. An approach up through Link could be the opportunity to strike, but instead the noise being made, perhaps a bit of a deterrent. It's the C site lock-in where that spike is going to go down.
There's a world where this went the way of a BSU, but it's not gonna be in this thread. Skeleton, Eagle in hand. A similar conclusion here. Again, a flawless round for SFU, denying that eco strategy. And like you mentioned, right, the sheer chip damage was good. If Ray Rihanna wins that frag over towards grass, the shock darts and Skeletons land to finish off these opponents, it could have gone a very, very different way. But alas, 4-0 here for SFU. BSU back to a bye. And this is where I think if Boise State loses this round, you gotta think about taking a timeout, because something is not working with this composition and the defensive haven.
Yeah, and I always kind of have that same rule of thumb, right? If you lose 5 rounds, especially in a row, you probably want to call that timeout and try to see if you turn something around, discuss what's happening and how you want to approach those following rounds. Now, Haven is, I feel like, often referred to as an attacker-sided map, right? So there is that little bit of like, oh, maybe, you know, SFU is able to win these rounds because it's offense-sided. But in reality, I mean, this has been a near flawless execution of site taking, of eliminations, of just planting in default, creating opportunities that Boise isn't expecting. And Zhobiii going into future rounds, I mean, what critical changes do we want to see from Boise to try and stop what is currently this snowball against them?
I don't want to see what they're doing right now. All SFU kind of forced it, as I want to see more collective retake. The issue here is that SFU, we talked about it, this overheat favors them once in a while. Right? You're taking out these main re-entry duelists, and if you're holding on to that space, then you cannot have a cohesive retake if you are at Boise State University. So the gamble continues to pay off. They they're going for the jackpot, and with that lineup and not coming down, Kenny is going to strike themselves into a 5-0 here, favoring Simon Fraser.
Kenny just playing dominoes on the B side there. A beautiful lineup with that Vandal. 8 eliminations on the board, so currently over double what Boise State players can bring to the table at this time. And SFU, it's funny because so many teams, when you put them on stream or you put them on main stage like these teams are right now, there is that little bit of pressure, those nerves that so many people kind of play worse. But I feel like Simon Fraser is playing better. I feel like they were playing really good earlier. They're playing great right now. They are absolutely out for blood.
No, for sure. And I was like worried that they were going to be getting tired after a pre-mapper, after some two really quick 2-0s or 0-2s from BSU. But it means that they're warmed up versus BSU was sitting back, chillaxing, and maybe they're just getting warmed back up here. But Prestige, you're going to have to get hot quick because the entire team is barreling at you.
They barrel not only at you, but once again through you. 3 players down and out. Simon Fraser looking for their second flawless, but Sky's going to make sure that doesn't happen with the Blade Storm available. Shock Dart covers that C-Link. And there's a wide swing, Sky's into another. 3 players left. A lot of opportunity here. The spike just planted. This team can try and make the magic happen, but Rihanna overextends, taken down by that spray. It is up to Skies to try and save the day. Oh, the cage caught! I didn't know it hit! Oh, but Sky swings out, doesn't check the right corner, and Kane dismisses the closest dream Boise has had thus far of a round win.
That has got to be devastating, not only because SFU has reached that kind of threshold of a 6th round, but you invested your big ticket ultimates of that Annihilation, of that Blade Storm, which is monumental for a retake with this style of composition. Like, yes, you're gonna maybe have that Cosmic Divide from Prestige up this round, and a Death Contract that can have a similar kind of retake prowess, but you really wanted to stack those up. And something else I did see, and I thought BSU was gonna go for, was early aggression again, but with weapons, and I think that's still what they're trying to fake here.
Sure.
They're fury, they're like, okay, they're gonna be pushing down Graf, when really there's an operator holding that line.
Oh, look at the run on this. You cannot blame Prestige for trying. Here's the approach. Up, down, C, long. Gets the elimination. Prestige finds 2 of their own before being dismissed. An opportunity to strike is exactly what Boise State was looking for. And now for the first time since, correct me if I'm wrong, round 2, Boise has the numbers advantage.
Oh, and look at it.
And it gets bigger!
Expand it. Yep, the shield is up. Master is good at teaching Kane a duelist lesson, and all of a sudden, and in the 1v3.
Man, Tom, the savior of the team. 2 players left standing for Boise State. A win would be huge here for them because it disallows. Oh, I'm gonna stop talking. Let's just watch.
No.
Oh, and he does it!
No!
Man, Tom, 4K, the Cypher clutch seals a lead for Simon Fraser no matter how the rest of this half goes. Boise State could win every round for the rest of this half and still be down 2 rounds.
And if I've learned anything from LAN, is that mentality is like sometimes 90% of the game.
Oh,
right?
easily.
And so just getting that first round for Boise would have been huge here before SFU got a lead guaranteed in this half. And not only do they lose that opportunity, but the fact that it's out of a 4K clutch from Mandom that they had no reason winning just is really just a final slash in the back here as SFU continue their tirade of dominance. And with the first blood on the Master, it is only continuing here, Septilence.
Yeah, 5-4 on the board. SFU up 7-0 in the round, so having this numbers advantage. And Clutch Key actually pointed this out during map 3 of that last series, where you see SFU so consistently getting an elimination in the first 5 to 10 seconds of the round. And then with that guaranteed numbers advantage, they feel so much more confident pushing into these sites just like this. Skelesis pulls out that shock dart just too little too late, and unfortunately it is going to cost him his life. Now 5-3 for Simon Fraser as they decide which site they'd like to push.
I got spiked.
Yeah. Here we go. And that's what I love from SFU, right? Like, when they do overheat, it's well thought out, it's collective, and they still know when to take it slow. Like here, yes, it was a 5v3, yes, they get the advantage, but what do? They still clear all their bases, they clear out short, they clear out skies, and as a team, they get onto the A site, they go for the plant. And Mandom even is just kind of that kind of plan B here, but
yeah.
Unfortunately that's going to expire a little bit too soon as they maybe a little bit of the ego set in. And Rihanna gets a weapon upgrade, but it's still a 1v4.
Oh, just timing dipped on that one. Had the crosshair in the right spot, but swung too little too wide. Cost him his life, and now 8-0 on the board for Simon Fraser. A big opportunity here for this team to keep this momentum moving forward. 12-0 into the second half. I mean, that almost seals the deal on Haven.
No, for sure. And that's something that's been really, really different as well, is that when SFU solo stands, number one, they're winning their duels, which is just FPS mechanical diff. But even with that clutch that we saw from Mandom, right, BSU, they're playing very kind of solo endeavors. Like, there's not much tradability, there's not much coordination, and I think that's harming them in the long run, especially when I mentioned this composition on the defense requires that coordination. Or it requires a hero player.
Yeah, just that angle hold goes a long way and puts that player about 6 feet under. 5-4 advantage now for Boise State. Third time this entire map we've seen them with a numbers advantage. Is it going to be squandered, or is an opportunity to put that first round on the board just moments away? Tricosaurus, a bit of an overextension, but it doesn't cost them their life yet.
This is the first time we've actually seen,
exactly
them hold down this side, but there is a weakness, and that is what Super Heaven is going to exploit. I think they Stratacept past the deadlock wall, and now wreaked havoc, reopened up the seaside as a potential option. I mean, Tricosaurus, yes, 29 HP, but they didn't have to do the job of a duelist because the Omen is.
Yeah, the Omen deciding to roll swap here mid matchup. Rihanna does take down Super Heaven, but Tricosaurus gets the trade, and now it's up to Master to prove that they are just that, of their own craft here on the ISO. 3v1, gets caught by the recon bolt, shock dart to boot, nowhere to run, 9-0, Simon Fraser.
And again, it's layer upon layer out of SFU. Mandom, right? They clutch one round, and then they've been that consistent lurk factor the other rounds. Yes, Rihanna got the better of them there, but then there's a final cake topper in that frag against Master to get that 9-0 on the board. And my issue here is that number one, BSU's on an eco as SFU's heading into double digits, and then you also look at the ultimates for SFU. Like, I would be surprised if we're on par for a flawless half out of Simon Fraser.
At this rate, Zhobiii, I can only agree with you. Simon Fraser has been near flawless, literally flawless, 2 of these rounds thus far, and this team just looking for the execution time and time again. Kane trying to run it back here on the B-side. Wall goes up. Kane does get caught by that net. Every flash under the sun tells me that they're probably going to lose his running back in just a moment. Shock dart to swing that corner wide. Fast lane up. Boise State standing steadfast in this eco round on the C site. Prestige hits the body shot, a little bit of damage dealt, but just whiffs the miss here. Mandom finds Skelis' free. Rihanna down 5v2. The third flawless just around the corner at this rate.
Ooh, but 2 players developing here on the flank, but the issue is they know as
They
soon
know.
as it happens. Oh my gosh, this is spotted both out, and they've isolated each. It's only Skies, and unfortunately, seems to be cloudy days. They're literally trolling. They're literally going for clips. I mean, look at Tricosaurus.
Oh, no flawless.
The reflink from Mandom, like, even when they're trolling, they have a plan B. They have a surefire way to win. And there it is, the double digits.
I mean, that's a team that has really cracked out how to play the game. Even when you're running backwards at an opponent, plan B is on the table. That is very impressive. But now 2 rounds away, 10 eliminations away from a flawless half here on Haven for a team that just won in a map 3 to come out and kind of send this type of message. Whether that message is we look this good or the message is Haven is our map, the message is being sent loud and clear to the other teams who have made it this far.
No, for sure. And just the fact that they weren't even supposed to be here technically, like, they gotta love UCI after this, especially if they win it all and get their qualification spot here into Arlington. But here we go, Tricosaurus, full new life off of this overdrive. That energy surge is gonna soar into this back sight.
You see that Hunter's Fury come out. It gets a little bit of a tickle, but unfortunately not going to be able to find an elimination. 4-2 on the board. Damage to be dealt. Mandom, can you continue to carry this team just as you need to, my friend? Another one down. A possible third to go. Cage is up. Mandom could swing it wide if he wants, but patience might be the name of the game. And patience continues to be the story here. Oh no.
Yeah, I was gonna say you didn't know where Skelis was. That's why Mandom didn't want to plant. Now you know Skies has gone into CT with the backside clear. Now your question is, are they draw? Are they come backside? And you just found out with a clean flick from Kenny. 11-0 here. 1 round away from the perfect half and map point, Septilence.
This is a very, very strong showing from Simon Fraser thus far. This team is coming out and just the message has been sent. I feel like a broken record, but I cannot stress enough, as you said, Zhobiii, this team not supposed to be here right now. They got here on not quite a technicality, but on an opportunity. And I have never seen a team run with an opportunity quite as aggressively as this team is right now. They say, oh, we weren't supposed to be here, but we're going to walk away the only team standing in this race.
Yeah, like we said, made it to playoffs in Arlington. They want to go back, even if it is with a majority of a new squad, right? Kane didn't get their opportunity to play on lane last year, despite SFU winning that spot, and they want to this year, and they are showing it here. A little bit of a slower approach, maybe scared of that, you know, death contract here from the ISO.
Plenty of time here. This is, I think, the slowest round we've seen. This is the longest we've seen all 10 players. My bad. All 10 players standing master down. Mandom, though, traded. So power player, Clutch King Mandom, has fallen on the side of Simon Fraser. Is that the opening that Boise needs to put a round win on the board? Skies finds Kane. 4-3 advantage. 2 ultimates in a pocket here. Can Boise walk away with a round in the first half?
In the last round of the half, might as well dump everything you can into it. Cause and divides out. Skelos is punishing an over peak, but it's super
no way.
Heaven. I called down upon the heavens, and with that, Hunter Tree knew exactly where Skelos is. And while it looked like for a second the tide was changing in the favor of Boise State University, it's Simon Fraser again to come out on top out of pure heroics.
I mean, super heaven from Simon Fraser, sending Boise State straight to his namesake, right? Right up there to super heaven, one by one. All 3 players going down, and the door just blown off its hinges by that Omen gameplay. Every time Simon Fraser gets close to losing a round, the clutch factor kicks in for somebody, and they continue to find these round wins over and over. 12-0, a flawless half. I'm not going to say this as a fact, but to my knowledge, that may be the first or one of the first flawless halves we've ever had on a qualifying broadcast.
Ooh, I don't quite know in my back of my memory, or maybe the fact that it's almost 6 a.m. is wearing at me here.
That
but
might have something to do with it.
We'll see if the 13-0 gets complimented, but this is what I wanted to see. BSU's composition is so strong on the attack,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Especially you have these exact setups, and then once you actually get site control, what are you going to have? You're going to have sonic sensors, you're going to have this wall, you're going to have the Ashta post plant. Like, this was built for the attack half, because you even have that double duelist that can get aggressive to wear down the timer even further. So the fact that they just really just wanted like a few rounds in that first half is just so paramount.
Oh, Prestige falls in spawn there. Shrekasaurus just, I'm not going to say out of position, but really in an unusual location to take that Astra down and out. Those stars are gone, all 5 of them not able to get used. Mandom gets one, guaranteeing the continued lead. Can he find another? Rihanna with that double kill puts Boise State right back into the fray. Skies dismisses Shrekasaurus, and Boise
Not like
moments
this.
away from a round win. Is it up to Super Heaven to seal the deal? There's another one. He's out of time.
And bullets. Second class.
No way!
One
No
bullet
way!
dream. It was
No
half.
way!
There's no time. There's no time. Oh.
Oh, my heart
Point.
hurts.
0.48 seconds away from a 13-0 flawless map pick from Simon Fraser University. But if that's what it takes to get across the line, then they're going to have a rough half here. It takes one mistake, and SFU is trying to force that. The Stinger squad force up. Now, I am going to say, Septilence, this is how you throw a 12-0 lead, is letting this snowball into an advantage for Boise State when they have a composition that is built for the attack. But I also have to point out that last round, it felt like SFU fundamentally understood Boise State's plan of that Astra playing as far away from danger, as far away from sight, and they isolated that really early on. So that's a huge concern of mine, is that the on-fly calling is insane right now.
Yeah, I mean, it was 0.48 seconds away from flawless. They knew the plan from the beginning, I think. Now, Kane goes down, but Skies is traded. Double tap onto Master is going to give a little bit of confidence to get into the fight, but Rihanna being the first one in, you got to go behind the Immortal guy for a second there, but unfortunately, it gets nothing done. Bucky in hand, player down, Prestige finds Mandom. And 3-2, Boise State numbers advantage, almost the full round still on the clock, so they can really slow things down and determine where they'd like to go next.
And that was a good tendency picked up by Prestige, that Mandom likes to flank, likes to lurk.
Yep.
And especially when you have a deadlock, not a firm flank hold, they're going to try to take advantage of that compositional weakness here again. I did like the Neon rotating over to the C side because they thought they heard them run away. We're trying to bait for Super Heaven, but the rehit's going to come through, and all this pressure is going to be on the Omen. And I'm curious to see if they're going to re-clear short, because look at this! What is this?
Oh, Super Heaven finds one. And now it is up to currently bottom frag of Simon Fraser, Shrekasaurus, to be the player to seal the deal and win the map, putting Simon Fraser up 1-0 in a best-of-3 series. Now with 25 seconds left, you need, what, 4.5 to plant? So Boise State, they've still got a little bit of time to play it slow.
Maybe the bottom frag, but did their job in the first half. Really good utility to set up Kane and keep their team alive in these post plants. Stinger only in hand. Not quite sure what the utility situation looks like either, but they're trying to go off the spike tap. They want to isolate the 1v1, and unfortunately right into the Vandal. Going for the low HP player, but it's not going to work out in their favor. Both players survive with the skin of their teeth, and BSU is going to keep fending SFU off their victory on their map pick.
Now, Zhobiii, you said it, and I was too scared to, about the letting it snowball situation. And I definitely, I'm not going to say, oh, this is the beginning of a snowball, because it really could not be just as much as it could be. But the buy-up really hurt Simon Fraser. A statement that could have been a 13-0, 0.4 seconds away from a 13-0, could very likely snowball into a 13-6-7-8 victory, which is still a victory regardless, but a lot of momentum being lost, making this series even longer for a team that just played 3 maps. This could be a war of attrition.
Yeah, but Keegan said it, right? It's getting late there, you know.
Yeah.
It's almost 9 p.m. Time zone math is hard. And they're going to have 2 more best of 3s tomorrow. They want to end things early. But, like you mentioned, that eagerness could get the better of them here. I mean, it surely has BSU on the confident end of things. Direct assault and a first blood here on the A exec. And that's Kenny as well. So you're not going to have that information on the retake. You are going to have a double flank. Again, they want to dislodge Prestige, this post-plant player. And I like the idea. Oh no, not like that.
Prestige taken down. Rihanna gets the trade though. Mandom really silent on the defensive half, which is admittedly ironic. Cypher, you know, that's where a lot of people assume he belongs, and Simon Fraser just not able to find a lot of momentum with that Cypher thus far. Cover going out. Already into the later tick phases of that spike, and Master puts down 1. Oh, into a 3-piece there. Boise State third round offense in their favor for sure.
Wow, wow, wow. And I will say one kind of nice thing to see from Boise State is your ISO waking up. Like, I think an ISO on Haven, I mentioned this prior, can be really, really strong, right? It's not typically paired with the Jet, it's usually the Neon or the Yoru, but I think that they can make it work if Master does rise through these ranks to the top 5 that we know they can be, right? Because you do need that stable, you need to punish off those double taps, win those death contracts here, and that 3-piece, yes, it was on an eco, is perfect for getting just the confidence up, which is what they're going to need if they want to win 9 rounds in a row to get us to overtime.
Oh my goodness, what a run that would be. 9 rounds in a row for an overtime victory would be just, I mean, that'd be the CECC way. Oh, an early catch onto Shrekasaurus. They get him out, but just in time to catch a bullet to the brain. Super Heaven taking fundamental damage, keeping that player alive just for him to go down. Really hurts the opportunity of Simon Fraser to try and win this one out. Now, Zhobiii, 2 of your players critical, 1 of your players dead. But you get a 4-player trade here. It's now tied up 4-4. Do you still try to push this, or do you go for a save to try and win the next round?
You need 1 round. You definitely go for it, right?
Oh, yeah,
it's now or never, and that's what
actually,
SFU has proven. You also found Prestige, which was their post-plant player, and especially when you're being given ones like this, it should be very winnable, but suddenly that 1v1 you thought you were granted long turns into perfect crossfires, a perfect setup to close out the round. And again, Boise State University gonna live to fight another day here on Haven. And it's again gonna be an eco round. And SFU, they feel like they're just kind of charging up these ultimates, and either they're gonna invest them to turn this eco into a reality, or they're gonna have rifles the next round to complement them, which is gonna be the biggest hurdle for BSU, right?
Yeah, and I think just saving up those ultimates is actually, you bring up such a good point, really a good call, because you can lose 7 more rounds before it's a problem. So it's like you can really wait and be patient for those ultimates and then use those to go for an engagement when they need 7 and you need 1. I think patience really could be the name of the game. I wish they would just go kind of full patient though. Just spend 1 round buying genuinely nothing.
Oh, and that aim was clean here. But my concern is that Kane bought a hero rifle. They know they have the runabout. And this is that they plan on investing. If they're gonna go peek first, try and at least get a trophy before they invest it. And while they take a few down with them, now they leave it to their teammates who don't have those additional weapons.
Yeah, the hero rifle opens the door, which is great, but you might have just left it open to get shot in the face here. Boise State, they've got the rifles up. A couple of, I mean, there's a new sheriff in town, but is he going to be here long? Shrekasaurus looking for an opportunity, gets caught by that vulnerable strike, and as the spike is just seconds away from entering that second tick phase, you know that you're getting closer by the second. I don't know if there's a right call here. You just try to be the hero. You forget to check the corner, and Master puts you down with that 4th. Boise State now 5 rounds on the board.
Yeah, multi-frag after multi-frag for Master. I mean, we take a look at this, and I said I wanted to see them, you know, sail through the rankings, and it's exactly what they've done, as that is 5 in a row so far for Boise State University this half alone. And my only other kind of qualms with this is, again, or maybe my suggestion for Simon Fraser is, you have the ults now, you have the overdrive, you have them run it back, get ahead of these site takes, because again, the post play is where BSU, these sonic sensors, this Ash util is going to thrive. Even the ice, you don't want to swing when you're vulnerable, so that even prevents you from getting in through these site choke points, like the CT refloods. So
Whoa.
all of this is so clean, and look at the procedures as well.
Yeah, early Hunter's Fury here, and Master is going to fall to that power player. That multi-kill madness is going to be dismissed from this round, as now it's a 4v2 in favor of Simon Fraser. Are we just moments away from this game coming to a close? Wow, perfect headshot from Prestige, doubles it to put the Super Heaven completely out of the fight. Cuts that lead in half to only a one-player advantage for Simon Fraser, but Neural Theft makes it that much harder for Boise to pick any site until it comes to the second close like that.
Yeah, SFU wants to end this here. All the ultimates they could invest coming in, right? Hunter's Fury from the get-go, run it back when they got past the deadlock wall. Neural Theft, just to confirm, there is no funny business going on, but BSU know that they are on the rope, so Cosmic Divide to try and safely recover that spike, but safety is the last thing they're about to have. Look at Kane.
Oh!
It doesn't matter. We saw Kane on the Phoenix, right? They're going to do a support role on the Sky, so Shrekasaurus, who is more kind of just laid back, memeing a little bit, yes, using their utility where it counted, but they're gonna have to step up and be that primary entry, which I'm hoping isn't gonna harm them in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good point as well. And I like that we're seeing this fascinating Simon Fraser kind of going from, like, it's like the same concept. It's like the same composition conceptually, but in a different font. We're going in for that same level of hyper-aggression, that same level of possible overextension. We're going double duelist. We have the Sky for flashes. We have the Viper for entry. Like, I think Simon Fraser is going to try to do this as quickly as possible.
I mean, speaking of quick, we got a little 3-stack butting over towards a short, so definitely trying to go with a quick pistol strat at the minimum here, and it looks like BSU can count their lucky stars. They are going the complete opposite direction, but out of hookah, you know who's going to comment? It's going to be, Super Heaven. Going to be like, hey, they're all coming out of hookah right now.
Here it is, and it's going to be quick. They dive into that B site. They try to make that space, and they find out that, oh, there's nobody here to fight. The B site wide open for just a moment here. They instead choose to not go for the spike plant. Skelesis is going to be able to find that opportunity early on in Boise State. Looking okay on the B side for the time being. Retake now forced out of Simon Fraser. That much easier as Ray Rihanna still does not get to play the game.
And they're so wary, or they worry about where Simon Fraser was coming from. Aware of Garden, aware of Hookah. What they're not aware of is that they have all been corralled here into elbow. You know, the ruse is up. They can get someone on the spike, and Shrekasaurus is sticking it. They're still playing that support role, trusting in the Reyna, trusting in Kenny, their other aggressive players, to get that pistol across the board.
A really strong round there. A bit of an unfortunate reload, but Simon Fraser winning the pistol round again, I believe, means that they are going to be undefeated in pistol rounds this series thus far. Let's see if they can keep that same momentum we saw back on Haven. Are we going to be seeing a 7, 8, 9, 10 round run, or instead is it going to be Boise State getting the chance to answer back a little bit faster? Because while it is just the pistol round, and that doesn't have to dictate the rest of the series, that did admittedly feel somewhat executable from Simon Fraser. It felt like that was all intentional, all part of the plan, very calculated, very terrifying if you're Boise State.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Now, I mean, look at the confidence there by full Bulldogs, no pistol, even easier rifle.
Oh,
they are fighting tooth and nail. There it is. Feast or famine. Reyna over heal, so even the repercussion of a lighter shield is not going to be seen here. Some nice deagle shots, but unfortunately traded out advantage. Now equated. They left an opening short, and it's been capitalized off of.
Now, is that rifle grabbable is the question. See the Bulldog on the ground, but Shrek and choose. No, does swing in, gets that Vandal wide, puts one down in the blink of an eye. Can you double it and give it back? You sure can, my friend. Shrek with the 2, 3v1 in favor of Simon Fraser. Ray Rihanna, I've been waiting for Ray to give me a moment here, Zhobiii. Could this be it with a classic in hand? I mean, it's a tough ask, but I've seen him do crazier work.
Oh, if you get online, the double swing, like even if you win the fight against Shrekasaurus, the Sky is there, that's an uncommon angle, and they're gonna even give that spotlight over to Kane. That's what I love from Shrekasaurus is, like I mentioned over on Haven, yes, they were left in some not winnable, like 1vx clutch situations, but when they're asked to step up here now on Vine, like I mentioned, they might have to with this composition shift, they carry on Mandom's legacy of that hero rifle Vandal. They're even gonna keep it here, perhaps. No, they hand it back to somebody else. Wow, look at them. Like I said, they're a humble king. They know when to step back. They know when to let their other teammates take the lead, like when Kane finished off the last round. So really clean here so far, starting to quell my doubts, but speaking of doubts, Boise State University, right? You're starting on the attack. You have the deadlock again. This should be your strong suit.
Yeah, I think you just said that really well, that this should be your strong suit. This should be the opportunity to take the lead. And while, you know, statistics suggest losing round 1 indicates a round 2 loss, it doesn't always have to be the case. It is going to be this third round that really shakes things up, because the economy gets cracked here. If Boise loses this third round, that might put us at a 5-0, a 6-0.
That is not what you want to be seeing after what was a 12-0 half into a 13-5 victory for Simon Fraser on their map pick. Did not want to have an early departure here out of the Sacramento, California.
Ooh!
West.
Solid reaction time there from Skies.
Whoa.
Payne gets one shot, not able to put down the other though. Master finds it. Boise State 5-3. This is the round they're supposed to win, and looks like they've got a really strong likelihood of being able to do so.
Why do I foresee a Mandom Empress in the future?
No.
I feel like we've seen them invest ultimates to try and win pivotal rounds like this where they can get out ahead. And this is giving me that calling card. They might try and look for one frag before that investment here. A little bit slow to the punch as well. They might be running out of time for that. That prediction to come true.
Ulting in a 3v4 is a lot different than ulting in a 3v5. I think you're absolutely right. Looking for that opening elim, but I think you said it best. The spikes already started its later phases. Mandom gets caught out by the flash, gets put down by Skies, and they're going to hold on to that Empress for perhaps a rainy day. Now Shrek goes a little bit crazy with it, finds 2-3 on the way out here, but I think, as you said, just too little too late. Rihanna's going to wait till the last moment here, teleport out, and 3 rifles are going to be bonused into the next round.
I mean, the damage was done at that point from Shrekasaurus, right? I think when they decide not to invest, say, the Empress, when they decided just to kind of funnel in, Shrekasaurus taking 3 there with the Bulldog is huge. And that's something else, right, is we mentioned how strong these post-ones are going to be with the deadlock utility. Now you kind of are getting an idea where these sensors are going to be placed. One on elbows, so then you maybe have to come in through CT, or you need to play those kind of, I guess, unique styles like you did on the pistol round, right? Where you have to, you know, go through these avenues that they aren't going to have equipped with utility, catch some of these players off guard. But we're entering a really important round. Rifles from both sides, ults to work with as well. And this is where, again, it's going to come to preparation like net lineups. All right. Beautiful utility.
Run.
Showstopper. It's gonna neutralize everything they're trying to do here. The 1-for-1 trade. The net's up though. The wall's up, I should say. And again, it's just post-plant ensues.
Post-plant, I mean, we're equaled here. 2 ultimates down the drain, but they both find 1 elimination in their stead. Skellis is finding Kenny early. Boise back to the even game, actually. Super Heaven does not want that lead to live long. Spike is down on the board. The flash is out. Payne has another in pocket, swings it wide, gets the read on the corner, but just really scared to peek it.
I mean, Spike hasn't even been planted yet,
Does he know?
so they don't need to get over zealous here. Oh.
He knows. Yeah, he knows. The heal up.
And I mean, yeah, you saw Super Heaven triple. You saw the Sky Flash come from short. This is the safest option you can get. You're still going to run into danger. You're going to run into K, confident on the head or the hookah angle, and they are going to drop both of those players who thought they just called a beautiful late round rotation. Wow.
I mean, Simon Fraser just had the numbers they needed to kind of be able to read every pick there. It's that plan B coming into play once again. Mandom doesn't even need to be the one leading that charge. It's this team just knowing what to do if plan A, B, C fails. Well, the D through Z is still locked and loaded, and they're definitely proving that just time and time again. Every time Boise does what many of us would do, they kind of follow through on that default rotation. Simon Fraser is just there to dismiss them over and over.
And I love that Kane just like flipped the switch from support player, you know, overgrowth onto the Viper and heroics. And now their team is trying to pick up where they left off. Singular players opening up the round with an advantage here. And speaking of advantage, Kenny, a really nasty off angle if they just jump through the ruse here. And they don't even want to breach that frontier here. The Rays nervous. They fall back. They're going to collect and try to address this shower control, which I said was going to be a BSU must on their defense. Well, SFU has taken that down in their own notebook.
Beautiful play here from Shrek once again, finding 2 eliminations. Now 5-2 on the board for Simon Fraser. I'm really waiting to see if Boise goes. Prod, can we hold tab really fast, please? I want to see what we're looking at for rifles. if there is any. Okay, no, it's 2 sheriffs. I couldn't remember if there was a rifle on the board. Okay, so I think Boise State, they go to be the heroes here, right? You don't have anything to save. You want to try to make this an expensive round for Simon Fraser. And, oh, that's a positive.
Oh.
Dizzy, wow, just deleted.
Yeah, 2v4. Trying to take this fight together. Master gets ahead of it. They were confident that they were up against a Guardian. That confidence was misplaced. The 1v1 trade. Skelesis in the 1v3. And is it going to be Kane again with the perfect time to cancel out this B exit? I mean, yes, you send Wingman, you just send the Dizzy in, but you're about to run back into the arms of Kane. Again, the closer for SFU.
Kane must have been a typo when he put his name in, because all he's making Boise feel is pain. I mean, it is just round after round, just being that rotator, being that 5th man, taking the slot, as you mentioned, of Mandom back on Haven. Mandom just really getting more aggressive in the front line, which is creating Kane that opportunity to be that sleuth, to be that snake, to be that sneaky player in the back line. 4-1 on the board for Simon Fraser. And Zhobiii, as of this moment, I don't sense that stopping. I think this lead will continue to grow.
Oh, again, just confident in their abilities, especially after a slower GFU game. And I mean, the exits have been clean for BSU, but right now, when there's again consistent threats to that, like Mandom, like Kenny, piecing apart player after player, even when you're investing that plethora of utility, it's just so dominant and overpowering. And SFU, they haven't even had to dive into the Empress, into the Seekers here. I mean, the wall's up, the plant is going to go down, but what do you have left in the tank to close out this round?
A whole lot of not much, if we're being honest. Mandom gets the pick. The Cabbages have made an appearance, but you can just get the read on where they are. Lear goes out one side, Cabbages into the other. The flash is heard from Showers, or from Hookah, excuse me. Oh, Kane finds it. Defuse there, and oh, the Elim to boot. Just a monumental play here. Boise State continuing to let that lead slip further.
And again, neither team has used a timeout this entire series, right? Simon Fraser, no need. You got a 12-0 half. Maybe if they lost another rifle round or two, they would have, if things were slipping away towards an OT possibility. But that's what I want to see from Boise State here, right? Like you're up against an unconventional composition on Haven. You were running an unconventional composition, and it's the same now here on Bind with what SFU has brought to the table. What they figured out has worked for them after that loss against SJSU, and for good reason. I mean, when Mandom consistently is a forward presence like this, and finding frags even when there's a Bucky in their face. Like, what do you do against this? And Trichosaurus?
What do you do when you walk into a straight line and you all get taken down one after the other? It feels like Simon Fraser knows when Boise's going to line up like dominoes, because they just kick them straight to the ground. 6-1 on the board. Absolute worst case scenario. Simon Fraser goes into the next half with a tied up game. And as I mentioned, I think this number is going to continue to grow. This team, executable play after executable play. I feel like we're watching a brand new textbook come to life here.
Oh. I mean, I literally could not have put it better in the pre-show. I was like, Trichosaurus, you're gonna have to step up. Like, this is a unique role for you, because your Reyna is, you know, gonna be that player that puts themselves on the line and likely is gonna fall. I mean, it helps that Mandom isn't falling without taking 1 or 2 with them, but Trichosaurus, you know, from the clutches with hero rifles to the opening 3-piece, really, really clean here. And finally, Skies is going to get ahead of somebody, and that's your solo defender as well, typically on the B site. But what happens is an immediate rotation from Simon and Fraser. They're confident they can retake the A site. They're confident as well in Kenny to anchor it as the Clove. So they're going to be here to receive this site exec.
I love how often we're watching both Razes play the exact same game. They ult at the same time, they nade at the same time, they rotate at the same time. It's like they both understand the fundamental prowess you need to be playing this Raze here. Beautiful elimination on both sides from this SFU lineup. 2 players down, 4v3, and I think if Prestige swings this, it might be 4v2. Oh! I love to be wrong. It is going to be 3v1, but the res back up, and Kenny not ready to say goodbye. However, Prestige going to make sure he does. Simon Fraser round win still on the board, 7-1.
Oh. And I mean, you can see Boise State stoic, locked in, trying to figure out how to find a way out of this hole, versus, you know, some smiles over from the side of SFU. Literally, look at that. They know that they are winning right now, and like I said, they went with the confident composition pick, and it is showing in their play style. Like, I feel like Super Haven, you could take like a small break over here on the B side, you know, just say AFK on your phone,
for real.
and like the team's got you. Like not anything against Super Haven because they're doing great.
No, I mean I
when they're
can't.
asked to.
Zhobiii, let's be so real. I can't imagine a better feeling than qualifying for a qualifier on not quite a technicality, but like you're already starting as an underdog, and then you walk out and you start going toe to toe and blow for blow with two very dominant teams. Boise State, 4 of these members were at Arlington last year. So for this new Simon Fraser roster to come in and do this well against a monumental team like Boise State, I cannot imagine how this team feels right now.
Oh, for sure.
Oh.
And there it is. I mean, surviving players like Kane, like Super Heaven, ooh, they should be good for the team, but fortunately, Septilence, who was a player putting up insane numbers over on Haven, trying to be that hero player. That's what you want out of a Gecko as well, that clutch gene. And in a 2v3, that's what you're going to need. The Seeker's trying to set him up for success, but Sharkosaurus, the pinch, they're looking for the sky more than anything because they know where the Gecko is. They know Septilence is his elbow and taking names. All right. Whoa. There it is.
Septilence puts it on the board. 7-2 in the pocket. Boise State going into the second half, 7-5 is, of course, the dream they're going to be looking for. And I feel like that was, I think, maybe the most confident round we've seen from Boise so far.
I mean, I wouldn't even say confident, right? Like, because again, we saw SFU get off to the right foot, get that first blood, and it was just Septilence stepping up when they needed them to. The 4-piece, right, they equate numbers, and then they expand onto that B site beautifully, and they even like push through, right, confidently into CT. Like, if they get dropped there and it's prestige in a 1v2, that would be such a different scenario. But the fact that they're able to win out those duels confidently, like you said, take those engagements is everything here. And I love the net lineups here.
What a cool net lineup. I've seen the exact same thing with a Nano Swarm, but I'm still impressed. The Snake Bite goes out. The ultimate comes through, but nobody's show is going to be stopped here. Not quite yet. Prestige onto Super Heaven, tied up by Mandom. A silent but deadly elimination. 4-2 in favor of Boise State University. They really need to win this round. They want to get as many numbers as they can before the side swap.
Yeah, and that's huge from Boise State University, just the thoroughness of the site clear as well, because SFU, right, they lose a round, what do? They reshuffle the defense. They put Mandom over on the B site, because prior to that, they were fighting really heavily over for long, right? So Mandom would have had that same opportunity they've had round after round to look for first blood, a first engagement. But what do? They pull out that pistol strat. They all go hookah, and they get the perfect timing as well with the dissipation of the wall, of the snake bite, and it just works out, and SFU now forced into a save here. So they may have the lead, but it's going to start shrinking here, hopefully, like you mentioned, round by round, until we have a close half.
A close half is exactly what I'm asking for. Boise State, a team or a university, really, that are no strangers to coming back from an upset like this or from a circumstance of a losing scenario. I've seen these teams claw back from the depths of defeat many times. And times, again, I know that Doc Haskell continues to drill into their brains that a game, that a series, that a tournament, that a weekend, that a qualifier is not over until it is dead and truly over. So this team, while they are down, they are by no means out. And I'm hoping to see Boise State continue this dominance of these last couple of rounds and give us a much closer game.
Attack off for Skies? I can't just glance over that. I like the idea of it because they're trying to punish what I mentioned was that kind of that overpeak mentality, like we need the first blood if we're Simon Fraser. But the issue here is it's for showers, and again, I mentioned that now that SFU is losing rounds, they're forced to adjust. They've placed not 3, but 4 players here on the B site. So this default and Spike is headed towards the B site. That's where like BSU's gotten the rounds that they've gotten on the board. So they're like heavily gambling into this, and I mean that's a horse I would bet on too if the race is where BSU is gonna head.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up such a good point here. It's like high risk, high reward, right? Hey, either you're right or you aren't. Every bet's a 50-50. And it feels like they're definitely going to try to find an opening here on the A site. But with that slow noise, or rather no noise, from Boise right now, it's definitely hard to decide which site you want to lock into. And Super Heaven just learned the hard way where Boise's at least going to start this battle.
Yeah, the fact that Skies hasn't gotten any pushback over towards Shower, I think is why we're going to see this TP play come through. You've gotten the first blood. There was no, Clove utility, Rainaleer, Raise nades, so you know that they changed things up. But you know one player's already flanking. It seems Prestige might not have known, but they're quick to adapt. And so far, BSU is flawless that the plant is going to be secured here on the A site. They want their thrash back. This is smart.
This is smart. You gotta respect the hustle. Gotta have a little guy back in the mix here. Kenny does take Skies out of the equation, so the op has finally gone down, but both remaining players need to basically get 2 eliminations each. A lot of cooldowns here on the Clove. Could be nice. Okay. It is up to Kenny here. They know exactly where you are, my friend. They don't need a neural theft to know where you're hiding, and with the spike already in that middle tick phase, I mean, this is gonna be tough. I'm not gonna call it impossible. We watched a 4K back on Haven. Bubble goes up. The fake comes through. Oh, so close with so many of those shots, but you don't win games being close. You win games being right. That's going to be the 4th round win on the board for Boise State. The gap continues to close. Will it be a 7-5 on the half?
And finally, one of their gambos goes Boise State's away, right? Like the 4 players over on the B side, they were confident in their ability to rotate over, but the surprise element of Skies with that operator, the stability it brought from the opening frag, even when the spike went down, not allowing these solo players from SFU to get away with heroics that they're used to after a map like Haven, after the start they had here with those 5 rounds tied together earlier in the half. Simon Fraser already have the lead, so they're sitting pretty for now. They have some ults online this time. The anchor of the pit, the first blood from Kane onto that frag, that stable player of Skelesis. Looking promising here to expand that for an 8-4 before the end of the half.
The 8-4. I mean, it's such a simple thing to say, but it's really important to kind of emphasize how important the 8-4 is going to be over the 7-5 here, because that puts Boise within a pistol round victory of tying up the game. So we want to see that 8th round win here for Simon Fraser if you're rooting for Simon Fraser. Of course, if you are a Boise State fan, you need to recognize the importance of this round because it puts them within that pistol round victory here of a tie-up, not a victory, excuse me, that pistol round tie-up. So this round, I mean, arguably the most pivotal we've seen on Bind thus far.
For sure. And I really like the use of the Annihilation there, but Super Heaven was aware of that possibility coming in, and now you're out of resources, you're out of options, you just gotta take that dive or rotate.
Saw the Sky heal up there, so I'm surprised to not see any kind of aggression off the back of it, but didn't want to overextend the play. Still a lot of patience trying to figure out which way Boise's gonna fall, and that might answer that. Trekosaurus not only opts down, but a headshot to boot. Man, Dom, my favorite skin in the game right now, the Neptune. 1v3. Can you be the guardian the team needs? One goes down, but it's still going to be a tied up game here. Kane finds Prestige. 3v2. The flash is up. The rotation is quick, and Kane just a little unsure of where they want to go. 6 seconds left. Wait, whoa, where'd the round go?
Yeah, that's what you get when you have staring down a Viper's Foot over on the A side. When you started out on B, just everywhere they were knocking upon was a closed door. Just a great way to close out the half in such a dominant fashion, like not even allowing that plan to go through, which, like I said, was I think the win con for Simon Fraser University
100%.
on that defensive half is like you can't let them get the plant down because that deadlock is so strong, because that gecko, like all of this kit is designed again for buying that time. I mean, literally, you look at that, like 3 out of the 5 players have a nade, and the net is just as deadly in a sprayed out of a smoke situation. But aside from that, 8-4, not as dominant as a 12-0, but it still makes things a little sticky here for Boise State University if they want us to see that map 3 of Ascent, if they want to keep their run in the CECC West qualifier alive.
And Toby, if you could remind me, please, just to make sure I'm correct. Map 3 is Ascent, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes, okay, great. I didn't want to make this point and then find out I'm wrong. Let's see how this round happens first. Skelesis able to find a great headshot there, but I want to talk about the importance of Simon Fraser winning this map because Ascent is such a fascinating map. Not only do they win the series, obviously, but they want to avoid playing Ascent because it is a map as old as time. It is the collegiate classic that we see time and time again, and I think it is where, no matter how these maps feel, I think Ascent will continuously be where the playing ground is the most level. And I think that could be a huge opportunity for Boise. Simon Fraser needs to continue playing these unique, these weird, these unusual play styles and compositions because I think that is what is giving them the opportunity to be so far ahead. But how weird can you really get on Ascent? That map has been played millions of times. I think it could be really detrimental to Simon Fraser if we have to go to that third map.
No, for sure. And we'll probably get the deadlock trifecta, which makes it even more interesting here.
True.
But this round, back to the action, a very important pistol here if BSU wants an early comeback. But this is what's interesting. Yes, you lost your Viper, but it doesn't matter because you have that secondary Clove. What is going to matter is losing both of your duelist disguise with some quick deagle action. Take the gun out of the holster and sling it towards SFU, and suddenly they can't plant. It's going to require a hero, and the IGL steps forward. Kane is going to get one, but unfortunately traded.
Close
There
one.
it is.
Rariana is going to be able to win that pistol round here for Boise State. Now a 3-round differential. Let's see if Boise can bonus this up, win this second round with the buy-up. I assume is coming in. Probably some Spectres, maybe a Bulldog if we're lucky, some Stingers on the board. But Simon Fraser, if they can clutch this out, if they can thrifty this, that could be the beginning of the end.
Ooh, and we have no, forward Stinger force coming out from SFU. Obviously, you only need 1 round is different than needing, 5 here.
Yeah, big
But aside
difference,
from that, just the buy from BSU is so different, right? We had a Vandal and full Bulldogs for SFU last half. And what do we have here? Outlaw, 3 Spectres and a Bulldog. So they're playing maybe some of the newer meta, maybe showing respect towards SFU, not wanting to let their money get out of hand. If Master can use his heaviest weapon purchase to get some early chip damage, then the Outlaw can finish them off.
Probably going to go for a molly into that. Oh, maybe you don't need it. Prestige on a wide swing. Super Heaven does take the player down, but dare I say, too little, too late. Weapons advantage. Smokes to cover entry, and 2 players left standing. Classics in hand. Spike out in the open. This one might just be a wash, Zhobiii.
I was a little nervous about the lack of a Viper for the composition of BSU, but what replaces it? Sonic Sensor. So you may not be decayed, but you are going to be stunned way up, and as a result, it's easy pickings there, as we mentioned, for Prestige. They die a hero, not going to be flawless for Boise State University. But aside from that, it's going to be everything near it. Kenny again left with the impossible, and Skies again is the one to close it out here for the squad. BSU keep it clean, which is, like you said, really fundamental if they want to tie things up here on their defensive half.
And they're getting danger close to doing so. Only a 2-round differential, the closest I believe we've been this series thus far, other than, 2-0 victories at the beginning. This deep into the series, we're seeing only a 2-round differential. And Boise State, if they can ruin the economy of SFU here, I think we go into an 8-8. I don't even know if they have to win. I think if they find 4 players in this roundup here, they should be able to shake up the economy, make it harder for Boise State to come into that, for Simon Fraser to come into those following rounds, and should get that much closer to tying up the series. Skies gonna make it that much easier. Mandom, been a silent player for the last couple of rounds, and this one will be included as they get taken down before the round even really gets to start.
Again, we talk about how important for SFU on their defense half First Bloods were, and BSU is returning that favor in kind. I mean,
yeah.
You mentioned the damage. Well, an Outlaw can surely do that if there's any light shields lurking around the map. Already opening up with the First Blood onto a player that's been so impactful like Mandom in that first half. Again, I mentioned it. I feel like this half in particular is when we do need to see Strikersaurus be that primary entry, right? Like, you can stand your ground on any role, regardless of whether it's a duelist or not, and you can frag out on your defensive half. But here is when you need to use those satchels, you need to use those nades to make space to get the spike down, because that is your primary objective.
Only 40 seconds left on the clock. I do say only. That's plenty of time in a game like Valorant, but the patience has not been lending itself well to Simon Fraser. This team has found much more success when they're loud, they're proud, and they're aggressive with their play style. Now they go in loud, they go in proud, and they find a player advantage. For the first time in a long time, Strikersaurus is going to find that elimination, nearly getting eliminated in the process. Kenny down. Strikersaurus desperately needing healed up. With the spike planted, it's not about getting these elims anymore. It's about waiting out that clock. Talk about a timing diff. Kane almost walks out into the open, but the smoke covers him for just that critical moment. Oh, no way. Oh, yes way.
The 1v1, returning member Kane, the IGL gets the job done. And you're the one that mentioned it in the last buy phase, right? You didn't even want necessarily BSU to win because it should be SFU winning that since it's their rifle round, but the damage that they do is going to be felt. Light shields across the board. Now kind of the economy situation is similar across both teams.
Yeah.
So really, I think the late stage of this game is going to be determined by who wins this round, right?
Without a
SFU,
doubt.
they're going to hit 10, 11 if they win because there's not going to be a buy for BSU, or BSU, if they win, could tie us up here.
Yeah, there's a very real likelihood that if BSU wins this, we go 8-9, maybe 9-9, and then they are right back in the mix of it. So, oh, great start. Mandom down again. Rihanna finds Trekosaurus as well. This is a pivotal round that Boise desperate to win, and they can recognize the importance. Wow! The wide swing headshot onto Kenny. Are they going to flawless this, Zhobiii? That will demolish the economy of Simon Fraser. Nope, never mind.
Ooh. Well, you would hope so, and I mean, it definitely will help, I think, if BSU's not able to close this round out, if we get to see that 2v4 clutch. But that's why you invest the Seekers. That's why we'll see Skies maybe with a showstopper if Kane would stage heroics, but the threat of the Outlaw staring you down is enough for Master to take the swing, to take the frag, and take the round for Boise State University.
Boise State University are going to be able to find that round. 2-round differential here. So things are going to be looking a little bit interesting. Simon Fraser, no buys on the board. Not what we wanted to see from them, as they had such a dominant lead in the beginning, but maybe there will be a show up here. Maybe there'll be some kind of classic turnaround, but it's going to be a big hill to climb. Ascent just seeming closer and closer. The GPS taking us all the way to that third map of the series. It really could happen if Simon Fraser does not give us the turnaround we need for them to end this series and move on this weekend. Wow.
2 rounds separating. Skies has been demonic with this Outlaw. They go back for seconds, and they're still gonna get that chip damage. So talk about it. You found your first duelist. You essentially disabled the second with those frags. With that damage, I should say. They're not gonna be able to satchel into any action here, and you still have players back sight. Surprised that they're still trying to commit here.
It's definitely a confident play. Maybe there's no way they expect us to, right? The smoke does go out, makes it that much harder for Skies, but so many great places to reposition. You're really only buying yourself temporary time. The showstopper comes out, up and over, gets 2 with the help of Rihanna. Skies gives their life for it. 4v2 in favor of Boise State. This round needed to be significantly more expensive. Simon Fraser only taking out 1 player is not going to cut it. Oh, there we go.
Eagle in hand, though. And, I mean, Kenny can recover that weapon. It suddenly becomes winnable.
Very true.
Or maybe go for this, I would say the safe alternative, go for the plant over on the B site. But look at who's taking a page out of their fellow Skies, a book, Prestige. Pushing up through B short here. Would be able to cut off the rotation, but they're hit onto A. Maybe hoping that they thought that disengagement would be enough to draw those players to the B site, but the fact that Prestige hasn't seen anyone is exactly why these players still have this high-low set up here.
I mean, that's Sky in arguably the perfect spot right now. Goes for the wide swing. Master puts him down. Kenny tries their darndest, and for the first time since the score was 1-0, we are within 1 round. Boise State, a rough start, but a much, much better second map. Let's see if they can take Simon Fraser down and maybe take the lead for the first time this series.
And again, this is where I go back to, guys. I feel like it's a collegiate dilemma. Use your timeouts, please.
That's so
you know that I'm preaching to the choir when I say this every time, and no matter what cast it's for, I think it's heavily underutilized. The impact it can have, even if it just throws like chaos in the window, you don't actually change anything. The opposing team can think you're about to change something. And speaking of changes, the upgrade from the Outlaw to the Operator, and it's gonna find the same effect. But Kenny win the round for his team? Well, let's find out in just a minute here. Kane sends the Wolf, and Boise State with 7 out of 9 round victories in the last 9 rounds. Let's see if the performance can be steadfast for this team. Double digits goes a long way for momentum, for team morale, and it's been a long time since we've seen a victory from Simon Fraser. Can this be the round to seal the deal? Oh, I mean, we'll see. Off to a great start. Some really good trades left and right. BSU as well with the Annihilation to retake or deny this spike plant. First have to get past the Seekers, wait for the tap. They're actually going to play this super respectfully as well, right? They know Mandom's alive. They know they like to take space. They're expecting them to even push into CT here, but no, just going to try and play some unpredictable angles because they know that Annihilation's here. Also, Kane can delay pretty heavily with his double flash.
Oh!
Whoa! There it was.
And goodbye! Mandom finds Skies, 1 player left standing. Master needs to be just that of his craft as referenced earlier, but look at his crossfire, nowhere to be. Cannot get out of that round with your head still attached to your shoulders. Simon Fraser, 10-8 over Boise State. 3 rounds to go, but Boise still just on their tail.
Yep, double digits here. And before we enter another pivotal round, it's a great time to take a look around the venue and
Of
remind
course.
everybody that all of this is thanks to the McDonald's of Northern California. I mean, look at this. We got the players on land side by side. You can hear the crowd cheering for them or their celebrations. Like, it just adds to kind of the mental game, I feel like, of the tournament, of the competition that you don't get from online qualifiers.
And the energy this weekend in particular, electric for these teams so far. For every game we've
Wish I was
seen,
there.
we've got some Zhobiii. Me too, but you're doing some pretty amazing things right now. Let's not be
Yeah,
shy of that
don't
either. I mean, every game we've seen so far, they have been just like this. There's electric crowds, electric teams, everybody understanding the value and importance of every single round, just like this game has been such a good example of thus far. Boise State clawing back, not letting that pretty aggressive win against them get to them. They're turning around, and it's been that slow and steady play style that's been so beneficial for them. Will that tell true in round 19 here? I can't wait to see.
I like this. You have the one sensor outside of hookah, but your deadlock's playing over on A. So you're not going to expect the 3-stack on top of that here from Boise State University. High-low out of elbow. If Strikeosaurus is the solo clear, I don't think they're going to use it. They're just going for that slow approach, and here it is. The trap has been sprung.
Firing squad.
Whoa.
They just spray and pray through and through. Orbital laser comes out, and that is going to be probably a round win for Boise State. Not that it's impossible for these two, but it's just going to be really difficult. All 5 members aggressively pushing into that B site. I love the corner hold. We're seeing a bit of a tough spot, but still possible to get out with your life. Oh, man, the bot buddy followed him, but it does get eliminated. Rihanna misses so many shots, but still gets the one that matters. 8 seconds left. Kenny going to try to save the rifle, but cannot get out of the way in time. We are back to a 1-round differential. Boise feeling scary likely to take this map and push us to a third.
Oh, I mean, it just feels like every time Boise's getting close, SFU is moving that finish line, though, right? Like, I feel like because of these trap plays, because of these explosive openings from Boise State University, they've been kind of delaying the inevitable of these ultimates that Simon Fraser is sitting on, right? Like, this is like you stopping right before you mine those diamonds, and I think that's what's gonna be what, if you mentioned, kind of would prevent us from going to a map 3 is when all dominoes align, they can knock down to close things out dominantly. I don't think that's gonna happen this round unless they get like a Stark advantage and some weapons picked up here, because it is the Deagle save, some classics as well scattered in the midst. But again, I think we have not really seen a true life thrifty this series, Septilence. So first for everything.
Yeah, no, I don't think we have. We saw one thrifty in the map 3 that we tuned into earlier, but this series, I don't think we've seen one thus far. Like you said, never too late. First time for everything, and we're definitely waiting to see, is this the first time a thrifty round will happen? If it does, it could prevent a map 3, but if it doesn't, Ascent is very likely. We could be going to our 3rd map this evening.
Ooh, that's weapons collected, and a frag through the smoke on a Rihanna. I think this is when you debate investing those ults, right? Showstopper not dead yet. Empress.
I think do it. I think
we willed the thrifty into existence at this point, right? A 3v4 retake. If you're BSU, I'm thinking heavily about that Gecko Thrash for the retake. You're gonna need it if you're Skelesis and friends.
Simon Fraser trying to blow up Boise State with their minds right now. They understand it now. They're looking for that opportunity to strike, the time to get those eliminations. That gave Mantom's location away. Can they strike on the opportunity? Where is the Empress, Zhobiii? We've been sitting on it for so long. It brings so little value. It's one of my least favorite ultimates in the game. I feel like popping it in a down and out scenario like this could have been the door opener, but the door gets slammed shut in the face of Boise State, and Simon Fraser willed to life the thrifty at your request.
Wow, wow, wow. And I mean, first off, I cannot believe we willed the thrifty into existence, and that might be the final nail in the coffin. Number 2, they didn't need the Empress. They didn't need the not dead yet. I mean, even the Showstopper was just a scare tactic to buy more time. They had full trust in Mandom, right, to hold down Triple long enough. And another thing, right, Mandom isn't primarily a Reyna player, right? They play the Cypher, the Omen, the KJ, right? So some players get thrown off by the increased firing rate and just don't like the Reyna ultimate.
Actually,
so that could
that's
be
such a great
choice.
Point. I forgot that was a thing. I'm not a Reyna player. I forgot that they'd increased the fire rate and whatnot. I forgot that was something. But yeah, it's an ultimate I'm just not a fan of. I feel like it's definitely a unique one. But let's see.
I like the change where it's the whole round. That was nice.
That's very true. The timer definitely. Wow. Okay, well this round, the Empress might not have been up very long. Whoa! Master, beautiful shot there. Like, like clay pigeons in the air, but unfortunately the damage may have been done. Kenny goes for a swing wide, overextends, but still finds Sky's man top, puts down Ray Brianna, and just like that, we are possibly 1 round away from being done here tonight.
Yeah, and 2 things. I mean, not dead yet, nullifying Masters, insane play. And I was surprised to see that there wasn't a disengagement from BSU, right? Particularly Prestige, just trying to tuck away instead of get away towards CT. So then they throw 1 more frag into the mix. And then that final thing that kind of might have gone on glimpse is that Super Heaven, as the round ends, did invest that Viper's Pit. So a huge tool, no longer in the midst for Simon Fraser to try and close out this map. But in my opinion, most of these rounds have been decided within the first 15, 20 seconds. So I don't know how pivotal that's going to be.
That's the Simon Fraser way. Every map we've seen, they decide the round either whether it's a win or a loss. The first 15 seconds seem to make or break, except for the 150 we've seen, of course. Oh, and there's the elimination in the first 15 seconds. If the consistency does come through, this will end in favor of Simon Fraser. But if Boise wants to prove us wrong, it is now or never. This is single elimination. Will Boise State be eliminated in our first matchup here? It feels that much more likely as Master has fallen. Ray Brianna gives their life for a single elim. Bomb Buddy gets Prestige, and it's up to this Gecko to try and save the day, but Skelesis just not able to do so. A beautiful performance from our friends at Simon Fraser, the team that many have decided weren't supposed to be here, proving, etching themselves in the annals of history that they belong in this qualifier, that they very likely belong in Arlington, Texas.
We're here right now with Kane as what a match for you guys, a 2-0 win over Boise State, on to the semifinals tomorrow. How are you guys feeling after that one?
We're feeling good. I think the vibes are up after that game. Like, we're free-flowing. Like, I think the comms are up, and I don't know. Over the day, I think we just continuously got better as a team.
Yeah, and right now for you guys too, this is a kind of a good moment because you guys were out of the open qualifiers first, and then team drops out. You guys come back in, and now you're storming your way to the semifinals. So it's got to feel pretty good that came in here as kind of more or less the technical 8 seed, and yet proving that 8 seed completely wrong at all.
Yeah, I guess we're like a lottery team, so we're just like happy to be here, you know. So yeah. Thank you for the opportunity, you know. I think we're all here to just play the game and like show what we're capable of.
Now, you guys are looking to already book your spot into CECC Texas, and we know that, you guys are from Canada. At the same time, too, Canada team just won CECC in May Madness. That was in St. Clair.
Let's go Canada.
You got Canada's showing up here in the NA side of the collegiate, but you want to take on the Canadian team. You want to take them down, right? You want to be able to take them down. What's it going to take in your mind to go up to CECC Texas and beat them? What's it going to take?
All of us to shoot our guns and have fun.
That's what it takes. That's what it takes. Pretty solid answer. And then for you guys as a team as well, how long have you guys been playing with each other as this group? And then how often do you guys practice?
Like this group as a 5?
This group as a 5, yeah.
Maybe like a month.
A month, really?
Yeah, so we're like newly formed. Like our old team, two of them graduated, so this team is like a fresh team from SFU.
So a month, how does the cohesion feel after just about a month? Like how's the chemistry feel to you?
It feels good. It feels good. You know, I think chemistry comes from like the players liking one another and like having fun in the server with one another. I think our squad has all of that. So.
Well, I mean, you guys almost had the flawless round. We'll go to the match real quickly here. First game on Haven, nearly had the flawless round. I know you said before we started you guys were praying for it. I'm sure the word isn't heartbreaking for that match because obviously you guys won 13-6 in the end. Going to that end of it, like how good were the comms? How positive were the vibes going into that second map? Because obviously it got a little bit closer there on Bind. So how good was that vibe going into that second map?
I think after that first game, everyone's confidence is obviously like sky high. Like having that type of performance in the first map, it just gave everyone like the extra boost to like know that we could do it for the second game as well and repeat our performance.
And now you guys are on to the semifinals. A win tomorrow during the semis would land you up in the grand finals, playing the last game yet again. It's been a late night. I mean, you guys handled the late night pretty well. How are you guys enjoying this kind of late night vibe here at the LAN here at CCC West?
I think, to be honest, everyone prefers to play at night anyways, because like gamers, you know, we stay up late at night. It's like part of the routine. So yeah, we're okay playing late at night.
Now also too, you guys come up from up north, and you guys had a little bit of a ways to travel down here. How are you enjoying Sacramento so far? How are you enjoying being here at the LAN and just being in Sacramento in general?
Yeah, this is a beautiful LAN center. I don't know what I was expecting, but it's like everything is well laid out, and I'm like, wow, the TO is really good. And then in regards to Sacramento, yesterday I went to the Sacramento Kings game, and it was a beautiful game to watch. It was like the best game I ever watched. So. Yeah.
No beam though. No beam. No.
Yeah,
no
we didn't
win.
like the beam though. I was really hoping
Yeah.
for that, but
Unfortunate for the overtime loss, but
yeah,
yeah.
unfortunate. But it is what it is at times.
You got to see the court though. That court was like a really
Yeah.
really nice court
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
All right, final question for you as Kane joins us here from the winning side of Simon Fraser, number 8 seed, but really didn't look like it at all. Last question for you guys: how confident and how good are you feel going into tomorrow night's matches?
10 out of 10. If there's 11 out of 10, we feel like that right now. So hopefully we can bring that into tomorrow.
All right, well, that is pretty much that's it for the questions I have for you, Kane. Good luck. Thank you very much for
you, sir.
joining us here.